Today we're making Tentsuyu, a traditional dipping sauce for tempura, and we'll take the opportunity to dive deep into each ingredient, starting with the soy sauce, which brings saltiness and depth. Traditionally, Usukuchi, Japanese light soy sauce, is used for milder, lighter color. But color aside, how does it differ from your regular Japanese soy sauce? Well, it's high in salt content, 18 to 19% compared to the 16 to 17% you would normally get from a regular soy sauce. And it often contains a small amount of fermented rice syrup or mirin to balance the increase in saltiness. This is not to be confused with Chinese light soy sauce, which is quite different in terms of salt, color, sweetness, and umami. Given we have other liquids to play with in this sauce, you can use almost any soy sauce except for dark soy sauce. Next up, the mirin, which can vary significantly in terms of ingredients and quality. To overly simplify this, we can divide it into three categories. First up, the Hon-Mirin, the real deal. Made simply with glutinous rice, koji, and distilled rice liquor. It has a rich, complex sweetness and depth of flavor with a very subtle umami note. If access at all costs is not an issue, this is the best option. There's also a variation of aged Hon-Mirin, which is a bit too rich and complex for this recipe. Next up, we have the mirin-style seasoning, which is made with either glucose or corn syrup and rice flavoring. It has either low or no alcohol. It is sweeter but less complex than the Hon-Mirin. And it doesn't have much umami, which is not a problem because we're going to use dashi later. It is significantly cheaper, which makes it a wonderful everyday option. I mean, we're making a dipping sauce after all, we're not saving the world. Which brings me to the third category, Shio Hon-Mirin, which is simply Hon-Mirin with added salt. Why? To make it not drinkable, so that it's no longer qualified as an alcoholic beverage under Japanese tax code, thus making it cheaper. So if you could get access to Shio mirin, it's a wonderful choice. You just have to adjust the salt level from the soy sauce accordingly. If you have no access to mirin at all, unsweetened apple juice or grape juice are wonderful one-to-one replacement. If all fails, water and sugar. And of course, we have the umami bomb, the savory base, the dashi, which both Shonen and I have covered quite extensively, and you can watch how to make it here. For the sauce, use a sachet, use powder. And you want to go for a 4:1 ratio, the 4 being the dashi. But use this as a guideline, a starting point. Please taste and adjust and make it your own. All we need to do is to warm it slightly for a couple of minutes while we deal with the daikon, which brings a mild peppery contrast that cuts through the oiliness of the tempura and acts as a wonderful carrier for the sauce. If you don't have access to the daikon, radish, turnip are wonderful alternatives. Now, to go the extra mile, the top tends to be milder but less flavorful. The bottom tends to be stronger but could be bitter. So, we go for the middle, which has the best balance. It is important to not just peel the skin, but the whole outer layer, because it could be bitter and it's more fibrous. So we go deep. You can see how it becomes translucent once you reach the real core. Perfect. Now, traditional Japanese style calls for a very fine grate using a ceramic grater. In the Western kitchen, your best friend for this is a microplane. So why do we grate it fine? Well, we're practically tearing down the walls for previously separated enzyme to hang out, to form new peppery notes. And that's what's going to cut through the tempura's oiliness. Perfect. While we get rid of the excess moisture, traditionally you don't squeeze out the liquid because you want to preserve the peppery note that we just created. Once this is warm, that's tempura sauce done.